Hola, welcome to Word to Your Mama, the podcast that amplifies diverse voices and celebrates shared experiences. Hosted by me, Ritzy P., a Latina creative entrepreneur with a background in art, music, and new web technologies. From Academy and Emmy winners to activists, artists, and builders, we celebrate the rich diversity of my multicultural tribe. There will be special guests, mad laughs, and absolutely no BS. Word to Your Mama drops every Monday on your favorite podcast platform. So this week we have Luke Chueh, aka Navi Luke. That's what I call him. He is a world famous Chinese American artist, visual artist. You've seen his work. His work is like hella bootlegged around the world. This is a great conversation because we hadn't talked in a while, and it's always good times. Good times. But he keeps it super real. We discuss everything from colonoscopies to TikTok. If he has or hasn't edited his own private Wikipedia page, how one of his college professors told him that he was a mediocre designer, but he was a better illustrator, and how that changed the trajectory of his life, how addiction informed his artwork. And he keeps it 1,000 when I ask him to share with us the realities of wanting to evolve as an artist, but also not abandoning his fans. And before I say anything else, I want to really give a huge shout out to one of our Ohana, Lofa Sexy Beast. He's, a huge supporter of all of the artists, especially the ones that are part of my family. And he's had some health stuff go down recently. So Lofa, if you hear this, we are glad that you are okay. We're sending all the healing vibes to you out in Hawaii. And I'm so happy that you're still here with us. And we hope to see you soon. And whatever you need, we're here for you. That's for Lofa. Navi Luke, man. One for the books. Keeping it real. I think you guys are all going to enjoy this. So let's do this. Navi Luke!
Ritzy Periwinkle, long time no see.
Long time no fucking see. How you been, man? Let's start off that way. How you been? ¿Cómo estás? What's the deal? What's the word on the street?
The word on the street is I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there. I'm healthy, I think. Aside from, the typical getting old stuff, like blood pressure and cholesterol and trying to eat like a young person.
Have you had the big C yet?
Oh yes,
that seems to be traveling around.
I have
our
definitely
friend
had
groups.
that, and I'm going to give all the young people who might tune into this a tip.
Yes,
moisturizing wipes.
That's a hot tip for the big C. And for those who don't know, because you're too young to understand, you haven't been asked for this. It's what's it called?
Colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy. I was going to call it colonoscopy. Colonoscopy.
Yes.
I haven't had one yet, but it's around our peeps.
It's
our
coming.
Age groups.
you have to have it. I had
it's
this
coming.
conversation with a mutual friend of ours, Jesse Yu, just recently. And his solution is the Japanese super toilet.
Wow. Wow, Navi Lukesters. Wow, Navi Lukesters. Who would have thought when we met many moons ago that we would make it this far where we're talking about colonoscopies? What's happening? What's happening to us? Who would have thought?
I want to believe that as we've gone on and, made it like we're on the edge of outer middle age, and I kind of feel like we're embracing it better than, say the previous generation did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We look better. We're cooler. We do cooler things.
Yep. We're still like, we grew up with the conception of the internet, and, we're embracing it just a little bit better. Though I will admit that I was recording a TikTok recently, and my younger sister,
the unpackaging one, the unboxing one.
Yes. My little sister was opening up like little like filter things. I was like, what are you doing? I have never seen this before. For like transitions between like, scenes. So you do like the dumb like camera twists and whatever. And because like you see those like those TikTok videos where it's like like someone, it's like a third person shot where like you see them like dropping the camera or like tilting the camera around and whatever. And then like they stitch it all together and it's like, it's either like this amazing video with all these crazy like cuts, or it's them using the selfie cam and trolling us. Have you seen the troll? Have you seen the trolling ones too? Those are always hilarious. And then I was like, oh, they actually have these effects built into the app. You don't even have to really do any of the twisting and turning and whatever. You just need a gimbal now. Everyone needs
totally.
So
totally needs a gimbal. And shout out to your sister, who is also, if for those who did not know, she's my baby mama. I remember when I was pregnant, she was like, "Oh, that's my kid. I'm the mom. I'm the dad." But it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned it because I just saw your unboxing video, and I was like, well, look at Navi, getting all these angles. Who's shooting this for him? Like, who is behind this? Now we know
the young bloods,
the young bloods in our lives,
and a little bit of me, So
amazing.
But then I also learned about AutoCut on TikTok, and I was just like, nice. Oh, there you go.
Look. We're starting off superbly. We're starting off with colonoscopies
and TikTok.
I call them tip tops and the tip tops.
Tip tops.
Tip top tips.
Yes, absolutely. What the world really wants to know. The Gen X perspective.
Exactly. You get a little bit of like, the physical bullshit, and then you're like, oh, but we're still techie here. We're still doing TikToks here.
Yes. I have no idea what's coming next, and I probably will not be prepared for it, because by the time the next app comes around, I'll finally get the hang of TikTok.
When the younger generations, claim it and be like, "Oh, it's for the olds now. TikTok's for the olds." Then you finally get a hang of it. You're like, I like it here.
Natural Bear will be freaking like leading this thing.
Totally.
So as soon as
amazing.
Like how old is your son now?
He just turned 11 in October.
1 year left. 1 year before the power switch happens.
No, but it already happened. Abby. Look, he's 11. He's 11 and he looks like he's 13, 14. People can't believe he's 11. His voice is deep. Sideways hugs like in public. No full blown hugs. I'm sideways hugs.
No.
I'm on the sideways hugs.
Oh but God, I hate that.
He's talking. Yeah, he's talking about. He was just talking about the other day how he feels old. He was talking about like his young cousins are just realizing. He was talking about memes and like other things, and he was like, "Yeah, I feel me and my friend, my homie, so we feel really old." I'm going, "You're 11." He was saying how when he's 7 years old, he's going to be like, I remember in my day, we had to, to email, we had to, we had a contraption that opened up like a book. Like he was like, and I was like, wow, man. Wow. But Navi, look, tell me if you agree. We have discussions because, he loves stuff that like I introduced to like the 80s and Transformers and Star Wars and all this stuff. And I was telling him, Gen X, we're the dopest generation because we grew up analog, went into the digital age, and you're welcome for Marvel and Star Wars stuff. Like that's us because we grew up and
Yeah, well, I mean, then you also will have to thank the boomers to a certain degree because they're the ones who created it for us.
Did they?
I mean, they created it for their own nefarious reasons. But
they created, but who took it to the next level? Our generation did. We love the basic arcade games. Oh, let's make it into like this next level shit. And then we love the comics and we love these things. Let's make into a franchise movies because we want to see that. You know what I mean? So that's what I was telling him. I was like, You're welcome. Gen X, we're dope.
Gen X did elevate. They took this, basically what was intended to be a throwaway product and elevated it to a pop culture phenomenon. So
yes, because we grew up and we wanted to see the shit that we liked as kids, and I feel like we were the generation that were like, oh, we're still curious and creative and still like these things, and we didn't outgrow them. We just evolved them, right? We just like, oh, let's make them into. We want to see them act live action. We want to like.
Sure.
So I feel like, people grew, went into places of power, and we're like making these things happen. And I feel like that's, it's still cool. You can still be our age and go to Comic-Cons and all those different things. Like it's still acceptable and we're still in it. And I don't know, all that good stuff. But let's get back to you, Navi Luke. Let's get back to you.
Okay.
The people are like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. So I've always find it interesting, I say it all the time, that I have conversations with my friends and I find out shit that maybe I didn't even know, because I'm not asking you when we're out dinner or we're at Art Basel but I'm not asking you your personal in-depth questions about your history. So I find it fascinating. So would you tell the folks just briefly a little bit, like, where were you born and raised, that little nugget? Because I want to see, is Wikipedia right or wrong?
Well, let me slip in here and say I have actually edited my own Wikipedia. So the information is generally right. My name is Luke Chueh. I'm a Los Angeles-based artist, and I was born in Philadelphia in 1973. And but 3 months later, I was moved to the city of Fresno, California, where I spent the next 18 years, kind of growing up in a not so great part of California, but like, in the 70s. But I went on to go to school at California Polytechnical State University, San Luis Obispo, in the Central Coast, where I studied graphic design. And after being there for a while, I moved to Los Angeles in 2003, where I ended up not really being able to find a job, and then falling into a career as a studio artist, which I've had the great fortune of being able to continue doing to this day. My disciplines include both painting, and I also do designer toys, or toys that are inspired by my paintings. I'm actually going to be doing a convention very soon, actually this week, called DesignerCon, which is held in the Anaheim Convention Center. My work, I've had, I usually in Los Angeles, I usually show with a gallery called Corey Helford Gallery, and I just had a solo show there in late August into September. So, it went great. I was, pretty happy, with the way it came out, and, doing my best to kind of get out there still, whether it's posting Instagrams or using AutoCAD on TikTok. So
on the tip tops. So yeah, that's verbatim. When I was looking at your Wikipedia, I was like, he has a Wikipedia first and foremost. Second of all, I was like, who updated this? So you did, because that's verbatim. And I was like, I didn't know. Like when we drive up north, we stop and we stay in Fresno. And this last time we stayed in Clovis. And it says you graduated from Clovis High School?
I graduated from Clovis West High School. Yes. Yeah.
I had no idea. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm going to ask him if this is real. So thanks for the rundown and having it precise, because you were already prepped. Because all you got to do is read your Wikipedia. You got your notes.
You got your notes. I got it open right here.
But I want to know, and I'm sure the people want to know, what is your root? What was that moment or moments that hit you when you were younger? You're like, this is what I want to do. I want to be an artist. I want to be a graphic designer. But most, I think, better is when it shifted. Is it true that one of your teachers said, You're a mediocre designer, but you're an amazing illustrator. Is that true?
Something like that. I've been drawing like almost all my life, right? Like since I recall the first time I was introduced to the idea of drawing, and that was probably when I was 4 years old, and it was from my mother, who showed me how to draw Mickey Mouse. I was at my aunt's house, and she had two much older kids, and I was bored to the point of annoying. And she's like, "Here, draw this." And I guess I had a bit of an aptitude toward it, and I kind of fell in love with it. And I was, drawing a lot through, like kindergarten and like grade school, and all of my teachers were impressed, and so like the pats on the head and all the carrots, definitely like kind of fueled my interest in the art of visual communication. Around the time I went to college, I kind of came to a crossroads, because the prevailing stereotype of an artist in especially like the late 80s, early 90s, was that they were starving. And the idea of being a starving artist is not like this romantic idea for me. Like, at least not when I was 17 or whatever,
right.
Was interested in the idea of and I think also this is probably like my parents like inserting ideas into my head, like you don't want to be starving. And I decided, like, there's a graphic design department at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and it's a good one, and I should I actually got admitted into Cal Poly under the graphic communications department, which is the study of like print and reproduction technologies. And but the entire time I was there, I was taking nothing but graphic design classes, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being around other designers. I enjoyed the idea of the crit wall being, like torn apart, and then forcing yourself to problem solve, your way out of that box. And then like to like see your work against much more talented and much less talented, people's, kind of like forces you to like see your own work, and see other solutions, and, it just broadens your mind. And so I studied graphic design, and it was around the time when I graduated. I had taken like life drawing classes, an illustration class, and a painting class. And like, basically my like painting and illustration teachers kind of pulled me aside and said, "Hey, like Luke, you're like you're an okay graphic designer, but you're a much better illustrator. You should really consider like pursuing illustration." And I was like, "Oh, okay, good to know." And like, I was like, "So do you recommend going to like a grad school after this?" And they're like, "Sure. It's not completely necessary, but like, so it's always, if you can afford it, it's a good idea." And they're like, "Oh, should I like go to Art Center or like, Otis
Holy
or
Grail,
something like that?"
Right.
And they're like, "No, you should go to a normal university that offers an art program, because those schools will offer a much more well-rounded education. You'll be around people of different disciplines. You'll see the world in a much broader way." And I ended up going down to the School of Hard Knocks graduate program. And and basically kind of fell into this hole of like self-destructive behavior, I got caught up in the entire like big OxyContin boom and was doing a lot of drinking and a lot of drugs and a lot of like dumb shit. The reason why I moved to Los Angeles in 2003 was because I basically had worn out my welcome, my welcome in San Luis Obispo. You know, like, and went through, you know, my quarter life crisis and, you know, returned to, you know, my parents had moved to Los Angeles by then and, you know, returned to them, you know, with my tail like tucked between my legs. But then basically, you know, used the experiences that I had and did a lot of self-reflection and kind of, you know, used the idea of addiction as a metaphor for relationships because to a certain degree it is. And, you know, took that and used it to kind of fuel my artwork. And, then, you know, started showing my work. I'm best known for this kind of bear character. And the bear character is this metaphor for myself. And the reason why there's a bear character is because it kind of is rooted in this, like these nicknames that I got as a young person. First of all, I'm Chinese. And so the people, you know, I was in intimate relationships with me would have like pet names like, oh, you're like my panda, blah, blah, blah. I'm a bigger guy. So like, you know, I get it. And then I had one of my best friends, Jamie, and I, like, we were on acid and we were like tripping balls at my college, you know, home. And like, we suddenly decided that like, oh fuck, we're like fucking Care Bears. You know, like I'm like fucking Sunshine Bear and like, you know, and I'm like Laughs a Lot Bear and fucking, you know, and I used to live in that house where like, you know, when the bars closed, people would occasionally trickle into our place for the after party. And we were like, just like, you know, tripping out and like running up to people going, hey, I'm like fucking Sunshine Bear and I'm fucking Laughs a Lot Bear. What bear are you? And like people would give us like a dumb answer. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then like we ran up to this one guy and in my intoxicated, hallucinating mind, I was under the impression that like, you get this vibe like, oh, this guy is a fucking violent drunk and he is ready to fucking kick ass. So we should like shower him with sunshine and laughter and like make him feel better. And we asked him, I'm, you know, like, which bear are you? And he says, you guys are fucking bullshit bears. And we were Jamie and I look at each other and we think to ourselves, this is the most hilarious thing. And we go running off. And after that, my friend Jamie, she is Jamie Bear and I am Luke Bear. And to this very day, we still refer to each other as those, you know, those nicknames. And so when it came time for me to like start painting, I was very much influenced by the pop culture scene of like pop art scene of like Takeshi Murakami and Yoshitomo Nara, Cause, you know, Camille Rose Garcia, Gary Baseman. So much of the art that was happening here in Los Angeles is very character driven. And I wanted to, you know, I was very much inspired by that, created this bear character, and that bear character is me. And so I used that as and then I also came up with this like silly kind of like philosophy behind the idea of using anthropomorphized characters. And that is that by using anthropomorphized characters, you are bypassing the potential ageism, racism, and sexism that is associated with human characters. Like if like you take any of like the narratives that I've explored in my work before and you like insert a middle-aged Asian male in there, it just wouldn't have the same connectivity and appeal or, you know, that a bear would have. Like, you know, you see the you know, these anthropomorphized characters, and it's easier for you as the audience to insert yourself into it. You know, like, you know, we all grew up watching cartoons. We all grew up watching Looney Tunes and like Saturday morning cartoons and, you know, whatever. And so we're already trained to be able to decipher the idea of anthropomorphization. And
Right.
yeah, that's that is the basic gist of the work.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought of the reason why you do
It's
what
also
you
because
do.
that painting bears is a lot easier than painting humans.
Right.
like humans are hard. I just did a
Humans
painting.
are hard. Hands are hard.
Hands are hard. That fifth finger is the biggest pain in the fucking ass. And
It's deceiving.
I just did a painting for a show that was like a Legend of Zelda show. And I did a painting of Link, the protagonist from Legend of Zelda. And, it's a humanoid elf-like creature. And, oh my God, I spent hours and hours and hours freaking reworking the face because like the eyes just weren't set right. The distance between the mouth and the nose has to be just right for me to like feel comfortable. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that looks right. The cheekbones, like the jawline, the neck, whatever. It's humanoids are hard.
They're hard. But I love the fact that the reasoning behind why you went the direction that you did, because then everyone can insert themselves in, right? And if you're not familiar with I call him Navi Luke. If you're not familiar with Navi Luke's work, is you really tackle some really hard personal issues, and I think everyone can put themselves in that position, imagine themselves there,
or at least
because
get
you
the
bring them in with the
atmosphere of it all.
bears,
right?
Yeah, right, yeah. So I think that's fascinating. But so another thing I want to talk to you about is, how do you deal? You've been in the game for a long time, super successful. I think out of a lot of artists, you're one of them, probably, in my opinion, one of the most bootlegged, artists out there. How do you deal with wanting to evolve, but not abandon your audience, your fans?
So I'm going to give the most honest, straightforward answer to that.
That's what we want, Navi Luke. That's what we want.
Money.
This is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I want to make a fucking living. I want to be able to pay the rent. My monthly expenses are stupid, and like, and it's and if I don't sell my fucking paintings, I don't have a fucking investment group like Damien Hirst, behind me, who will buy my stuff in order to artificially inflate the value of it. Like, I'm like literally like hanging out, like my work is bought by people who enjoy what I do. And it's also bought by people who, like, I don't know, like, how often, you buy original art, but like whenever I buy original art, I look at galleries and I want the quintessential piece by said artist. I want, like, if I'm going to ever buy a Shepherd fucking Fairy painting, it is going to have an Andre the fucking Giant in it.
It's going to be full-blown Shepherd Fairy. Got it.
It's going to be a full-blown Shepherd Fairy. If I'm ever going to buy a fucking, like a Gary B, like, there's a lot of ways of being able to kind of transition out. It's about the slow transition. It's about like incorporating things in there that like, like you start incorporating elements, and then you sometimes I just I'll do it. I will do something that is like a little bit unexpected of me. And just like I did a series of paintings just this past season. Like, I did 2 of them. One of them is, you can see them on my Instagram. One of them is the Link painting, which narratively is like what I do, but it's like it's got fucking Link in there. It's got a fucking video game character in there, and there's no bears at all. And the other one I did was a painting for Giant Robots Post-it note show, and like the Post-it note show paintings are just like little scribbles I do on Post-it notes. They're, the show is great. It is a show that has been happening for 19 years now, and all artwork is $25. And so I did this painting last year that I call "The Mountain Doesn't Care About Your Achievements." And the mountain, this cold,
I love that one.
like rockish kind, like uncaring, unfeeling, inorganic thing is, in my eyes, is a metaphor for my apathy. And and I did a Post-it note painting, and so then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do a refined version of it for the show. And the only reason why I did it is because it's a small painting, it's fun. I'm in a comfortable position right now because I finally got paid for my last show, and it's like, nice. Well, I'll fucking do it just for the fuck of it. But and of course, like, the engagements to it, like on social media, are generally pretty low because, it's not a fucking bear, but like whatever, like at least I'm planting seeds. And so it's about like, like trickling things out. You just don't fucking like, like if you have nothing to lose, then fucking dive off the deep end. But I've got a roof over my head that I need to take care of, and
you got bills to pay.
I got bills to pay. Thank
you for keeping it real and keeping it honest. This is what I'm talking about. Because this is what people want to hear. Like, this is the real deal Holyfield stuff. This is like there's two sides of every coin. You have success in a lot of people's eyes. They're like, wow, he's amazing. I want to get there. Right. Mm-hmm. And they also need to know the real deal. Right. Mm-hmm. They need to know that there's some difficult decisions. Maybe not so difficult. Maybe
I do
years ago, this would have been like super hard.
I do paintings about how burnt out I am on the bear. Like all the fucking time. Like I have a painting called Even a Monkey, and it's got like a painting of a monkey sitting on the ground cross-legged, and scattered around him are just drawings of the bear over and over and over and over and over again. And then I did another painting called Burnout, where it was the bear, there's smoke like pouring out of his eye holes, and like surrounding him are drawings of the fucking bear. It's all, if I am going to have to fucking like, if I'm frustrated by the fact, by this character, I have no problem sharing that in my work, because, my work is generally about, struggle. It is about being disenfranchised. Mm-hmm. It is about, relationship issues and self-hate and this and that. And, like it has been more recently now that I'm 50 years old, like my work has definitely softened up quite a bit.
Is that your 50-year-old voice?
That's my, like, I'm older and wiser voice. Let me tell you something, Ritzy Periwinkle. The longer I go, once my voice starts slurring a little, I'll probably sound like Mitch McConnell.
Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shout-outs, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
This is your friendly reminder to take a deep breath. Este es tu recordatorio para que respires profundo. Take a deep breath in. Inhala profundo. Exhale as you observe your breath, letting all the air out. Exhala, observando tu exhalación, dejando salir todo el aire. Would you like to help me reach my mission of teaching meditation to 1 million children? ¿Te gustaría ayudarme a alcanzar mi misión de enseñar meditación a 1 millón de niños? I invite you to join me in the Decide Balance Oasis, a safe space where families can find bilingual meditations and mindfulness practices and so much more. Te invito a que te unas conmigo en el Decide Balance Oasis, un espacio seguro donde las familias pueden encontrar meditaciones bilingües y prácticas de atención plena y mucho más. Go to decidebalance.com for more details. I'll see you in the Oasis. Visita decidebalance.com para obtener más información. Nos vemos en el Oasis.
Like that's
Oh no, please don't, please don't.
Richie Periwinkle.
Oh, Navi Luke. Oh, Navi Luke. Oh, Navi Luke.
I just hope that like I don't become like, you know, one of those freaking like, you know, like, oh, now that I'm older, the conservatives had it right all the fucking time, jackasses.
Don't do that. Don't be one of those. Don't be one of those, please. You can sound like them, but please don't go that way. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you. We got the nice history. We got the, you know, the roots. We got the motivation, inspiration, the real deal Holyfield talk of how you stay in your lane, right?
No, right.
So now let's get into the questions and comments from the audience. Are you ready?
Are we streaming this?
No, it's not streaming. But I already have questions. I have questions and comments. It's not streaming, but it will be. Some of the video will be online. Okay, so the first one. I have a feeling you're going to know who this is. Kano got to paint a mural in the Chinese museum, and he's not even Chinese like that. How does that make you feel? Welcome to the Kano Red Table. LOL.
Good on you, Kano. Good on you faking it. No, I think that's great. That's great. Like, you know, I just haven't been kissing the right ass. You know what I mean? Like, and like, you know.
When I read that question, I was like rolling. I was like, yes, I'm going to ask that for sure.
I've thought about reaching out to the Chinese American, you know, museum. I just, you know, like when you're tired, you're fucking tired. You know, when you like. When all you want to do is just fucking like sit in your fucking apartment, you know, all day long and stream fucking lo-fi beats and like stare at TikTok videos at the same time in your fucking pajama pants.
That's the dream.
You dude.
That's the
dream.
dream.
And the window of opportunity comes to do that. You fucking do that.
What you just described is an ideal day to me as well. Lo-fi beats, PJs, and tip tops all day long. Just jump. That sounds like the best.
So-
I thought you were going to say that you were going to call them to complain.
No,
and put a complaint in.
No,
why you let Kano? He's not even Chinese.
Kano's got like, you know, it's like, you know, if like through someone like Giant Robot, you know, my work will show up at like, you know, the Japanese American National Museum, the JANM, you know, and it's like, I have no business being in the JANM, you know, like, I'm fucking Chinese.
So you're gonna let Kano slide. You're gonna let him slide.
I will let Kano, like Kano. I love Kano. So like if it was anyone like other than Kano, then like
complaints, calls, emails, old school
because
letters.
Because I know him, I know Kano. I let it slide this time. Just this time.
Oh, you turned on your sexy voice. That was for Kano. You turned on your sexy voice for him.
Kano, cheers.
Okay, next question. And this goes to when the rest of us, some of us have moved out of LA. But when we lived in LA, we would go out and eat all the time together. Like a lot of places together. So this question is, what do you order for the table? This is from Ginger Snappers, a.k.a. Shane Jessup.
Oh, Shane. What's
your go-to order for the table?
Oh, geez. Like, depends on what we're eating, what and where we're eating, right? But, like, you always have to, like, you know, depends on the size of the group. So, like, if it is a group of 4+ people, you always got to, like, throw in 2 appetizers. You know, and they always have to like usually dumplings, like if I was going to like, let's say we're going to Din Tai Fung. There's Din Tai Fungs all around the world. Everyone loves Din Tai Fung. You love Din Tai Fung? The soup dumpling place?
I feel like I went with you.
Maybe. But like, you got to get those stupid cucumber salads. You got to get like, because you got to eat something good for yourself. You got to eat like the greens. Then you got to you got to eat like you got to get like a vegetarian appetizer, and then you have to get like a protein appetizer if you're like, unless you're hanging out with nothing but vegetarians. Because you got to get something for the people who are not going to eat the meat, and you're going to have something who are going to want to eat nothing but meat. And
very thoughtful, Navi Luke. Very thoughtful.
I've become more diplomatic with age.
Oh, nice. It's new Navi Luke on the horizon when you go out to eat. I like to hear that. Okay. The final question from the audience is, I feel like this is a new period for his art. What would be the description for this period? And this is from Lofa is a Sexy Beast.
Oh, Lofa. So my earlier work was definitely definitely paintings that were very fixated on my nihilism. And lately I've updated my profile description to be macro nihilist, micro optimist. And what that means to me is, I see the world, the universe, whatever, as a big, stupid cosmic joke. But that doesn't mean I can't enjoy myself. And it's always the little things that, like, I won't say give me hope, but they give me levity. They make me feel good about being in this world. And it could be little things from like having a fucking flaming hot Cheeto to like, like having a warm cup, a hot cup of coffee, or like, to seeing my friends when I do get a chance to see my friends, just like to be able to spend some time like I'm spending with you right now, Ritzy. Those are the things that like make life worth living. And like to try and like, like, I don't know, I'm not a religious person, but like to try and like, like anchor yourself onto things like this life, looking for a purpose, life, like some kind of purpose in life. I'll tell you this, like, as you get older, you kind of realize that there was no purpose. But the thing is that like, but to be able to live, to take each step forward, and to discover, like, find little bits of happiness, little bits of joy, little bits of peace, that's what makes life worth living. And
that's real.
And
that's a bar.
Yeah. Don't try and like, like find satisfaction at the unattainable, but still reach for it, like push yourself, but like at the same time, like find peace in, the things around you, the people around you. And, don't beat yourself up too hard. I mean, like, when you're 20 or 30, go ahead and beat the shit out of yourself. That's what that's what that era is for. Exactly.
Figure shit out.
But once you fucking cross that, get past that, and like just kind of stem back and look at all the chaos that you left behind you, and the stuff that's still standing, those are keepers.
Right. Those are keepers.
Yeah. And I think that my current work is becoming more reflective of that. Yes. I did on my 50th birthday, my girlfriend took me out to Japan, and it's a big 5-0. You gotta like go big on your big 5-0.
Gotta go
and
big.
I did a painting about Fami Chiki. So there's a chain of convenience stores in Japan called Family Mart. And one of the things they're known for is the Fami Chiki, which is a chicken thigh cutlet, deep fried, served in a bag. And you could, if you want, you could buy pre-mayonnaised bread that you could open up, insert the piece of chicken in between, and make a sando of it. And I love this thing because it is $2 in Japan.
Come on.
Like it just brings me so much fucking like joy just to know that, like, you know, I could, like, you know, like everyone like thinks, oh, Japan, it must be expensive. No, it's not that expensive. Like you can, yeah, I mean, you could go and fucking have fucking like a $300, $400 fucking sushi meal, but you don't have to. You know,
Right.
you can go and have a $10 sushi meal and fucking like realize that like sushi in like the United States is just not that
Sucks.
great. But
Exactly.
but it does the trick. Like, you know, no hate for any of the sushi places in LA or the United States. Like, yeah. So like I have done paintings about that. And like I did a painting, you know, what it was called. I think it was, but it was a painting of like with my black bear and my white bear, like kind of just sitting on a curb, you know, like staring out into the distance. And the painting is actually kind of reflective of this moment where, like, I think our mutual friend Jesse, you and I were just kind of like, you know, outside, like just sitting there and just kind of soaking it up and just talking and stuff like that. And like, those are the moments that I like cherish now, you know, and I'm very grateful for. So, you know, but so maybe I'm becoming a little bit more nostalgic nostalgic, but no, it's not really a nostalgia thing because those moments still happen. So,
right.
You know, but
I think you're just being a little, you're like you're saying, you've gone from total nihilism to, let's micro optimism. Like
Yes.
capture these moments, because that's what a life is stringing those moments together and be like, looking back and be like, well, those are pretty good moments, because it's not the shit. It's not the things. Those are great. You need, you know, a lot of, you know, in the moment, but those are the things, right? Those, like those memories of you and Purds sitting on a curb discussing all the things,
Purds,
you know,
is that your nickname?
Purds. I call him Purdy, but then I call him Purds. I call him Purds.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that nickname.
Remember, I used to call him Purd, so now I just call him Purdy. So now it's Purdy.
Yeah.
So just like those moments, right? Like those, what it is the human connection moments,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
And it could have been just you two, not saying jack shit, but on the curb, just
right. Yep.
Just
exactly.
there with each other.
Exactly.
It's like microtasking happiness, right? It's just like, because you can't be happy all the fucking time. That's unrealistic. It's these little moments like, and when you get older and certain shit doesn't matter anymore, then you're realizing it. You're not nostalgic. It's like a lot of the bullshit and the things you thought when we were young. Like, I look back, I'm like, I was doing some fucked up shit when I was 20, like to myself, to other people, you know what I mean? And it's like, now I see what's important. It's these connections, like these moments, you know, breaking bread and just having conversations, maybe not wanting to go somewhere, but then going, and then you're like, I connected with people today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a good feeling, you know?
And you know what?
I love to hear it, Nabi Luke.
I don't think you could be able to reflect on it and realize the importance of what you have, you know, what you're having now or striving for now, if you didn't go through all that fucked up shit. I truly believe that human beings learn things one way and one way only, and that way is the hard way. We learn
that's real.
We learn
that's
things
real.
The fucking hard way, and you know, sometimes we fucking pay like dearly for it, and sometimes we come out unscathed. But like, you know, it's I'm glad I've made it this long. You know, I think yeah, like it's the world might be on fire, but
it is.
Like we're lucky.
We're still here though. We're still here. We're lucky. We, if you think about all the shit that, collectively we've done since we were young, we're alive. That's a feat in itself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like alive, well, thriving. It's fascinating, right?
How often are you flying, Ritzy?
This year I flew a lot because I was in Colombia, New York, and spoke at the UN, and so I've been flying a lot.
I saw something about that. That's amazing. You're kicking ass.
Thank you. Yeah, like I hadn't flown, I flew here and there, like up and down. But then the pandemic happened, and then I hadn't flown international since when I left to go to Colombia the year before. I texted Woes and Purds, J-Roo, and I was like, "Yo, I'm on my way to to Bradley International Airport. The last time I was here is when I was with them.
Right,
you know what I mean? So yeah, I've been flying a lot more this year. So it had been a while. Why do you ask?
I ask because like every time I fly, like as the plane starts taxiing, I have a moment where I just kind of like inhale and exhale, and I think to myself, if I die right now, if the plane goes down, I'll be okay. I'll be okay with it. And then I think it again on the way on the way down, because that's where I'm going with this is that like we never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
Yeah, like we were talking about survival and like driving.
Totally.
Like I should do that every time I fucking start my car because like you never fucking know, and it's
you never know.
Like most people, like when we jump in our car, drive to the supermarket to pick up some milk and some eggs, like we don't think to ourselves like, oh, I can be like T-boned, like out the parking lot, by some fucking jackass or some idiot who, decided to go racing down the street or whatever, or whatever, I was talking to Purds. And like, he was, I can't, it doesn't work for me, Ritzy. I mean, like, I think I had to have been there because I know the story behind the nickname. And, there's, just so you know, like when Ritzy gives you a nickname, there is always a story behind that nickname. My nickname, Navi Luke, came from me being the navigator.
Where were we going?
We were in Miami going to
or Basel.
Or Basel. I think Rolf was driving.
R.I.P. Rolf.
Rest in peace, Rolf. And like I had the phone, and I'm like,
oh, that's where it came from.
Anyways, but I was just thinking, like we're lucky to have survived because we think that like life is a given, but like it's
it is
we
not.
Have to, we live in a much more dangerous world than we think it is.
That's real. That's really real. And now I'm 11 years in with the Supernatural Bear, but now that really helped me to see a lot of shit clearly, especially because I was an older mom. But whenever we leave the house, we leave the house from each other. I told the bears here, I said, no matter what, I don't care if you're just going down the street to get gas. We always say, I love you. Because you never know. Like you never know. It could be the last time. Yeah. And it's funny that you said that about flying, because every time I fly, short distance, long distance, doesn't matter, I do the same thing. I'm like, we're taxiing, we're about to go lift off, right? And this is what happens to me. I'm like, if it goes down, it goes down. I lived a fucking crazy, awesome life. I've done the things. But every time we get up and we level out, I'm always like, we're fucking flying. I always think to myself, like, fucking
humans are crazy.
Flight is amazing.
It is.
Like, this is, like, I've flown so many times. It doesn't matter. every time I'm like, wow, we're like really just chilling, flying in the air. Like
we're in a
science
fucking tube,
is amazing.
Going fucking 400 to 500 miles an hour in the sky.
It still amazes me. It amazes me every time. Like I never take it for granted. So anyway, okay. Yes. Before I let you go, we got the not so rapid fire questions, the aka slow as hell questions, because it could be slow or they could be quick, depending on where you're at.
Sure.
Let's do this. Okay, 3 words to describe yourself.
Asian American artist.
I concur. Okay, the next one. What's the best piece of advice you received?
Be patient. I don't know. Like, what's the best piece of advice that I've received? Put a little lemon on that.
I'm joking.
I don't know. Yes. I mean, like, you know, like, I've gotten tons of amazing advice in my life, but have I followed through with it? Like, you know, and like, you know, you know, the best advice is always like this weird hindsight thing where it's like, you know, you're like, it's like, you know, slow down, you know, fucking like be patient, whatever, you know, and you're like, you know, like, you're like, yeah. But in your mind, you're like, fuck that. And then you're like forced into a fucking situation where you have to be patient and you have to fucking like, you know, do whatever. And then like you come out of it and you're like, oh, patience.
Yeah. Oh, that's what they were talking about.
Right. Like, did I get that advice? Yes, I got that advice. Did I follow through with that advice? Unwillingly. But you know,
I do like put some lemon on it. Put a little lemon on it. Because that's always, I cannot be in my house without lemon. Like,
right.
Like
put a little
I cannot put a little. You'll be fine. Put a little lemon on it.
There
that's the one. That's the keeper. That's the keeper. That's the soundbite right there. Okay. The next one. This will be interesting because I'm interested to see where you're at nowadays. What's the song that you always play to get you hyped when you need it? What's your go-to? And I'm sure it evolves, but where are we at now, Navi Lukester?
You know, like I play to get me hyped.
Or maybe, you know, you what's your go-to song that just makes you feel good?
Shit. All
what's
right.
Heavy rotation? Are you checking your iPod?
I'm checking my Spotify fucking like, because like I don't even really pay attention to song names anymore, you know, like,
right.
You know,
it's a whole new game.
Like,
what are you going to look up? Your Wrapped? Your 2023 Wrapped?
Fucking Wrapped. I'm going to look up my fucking Wrapped.
So who's your number one artist or your most played song?
Exactly. I mean, that's like, you know, that's that. Oh my God, this question is just like, I don't even know how to find my Wrapped anymore. Where's my fucking Wrapped?
To say is that I think it's a conspiracy that Wrapped is not 100% accurate because there's no fucking way. I love SZA, but there's no fucking way that I played her that much. There's no way.
I think my Wrapped is pretty good because I was just like okay, yeah, I'll listen to this artist a lot. Let me see, like what gets me pumped? Okay, like when I'm driving, there's a series. There's 2 songs that mix into each other by the band Carpenter Brute that I listen to, like, and it makes me like want to go flying down the freeway. Let me see.
Yes, that's the kind. Yes. What is that?
And the songs are they're a series. They called, one of them's called Day Stalker, and it mixes into the song called Night Prowler. And it's this kind of like techno, like it's French techno, like industrial dark wave, whatever. And like at night when you fucking put that shit on and the freeway is just sparse enough so you could just go like, you know, the full 70 miles an hour.
Whoa, slow it down, Navi, sir. Slow it the fuck down.
You don't want to drive, you know, you don't want to drive unreasonably.
You want to feel like you could drive unreasonable, but you don't want to really drive unreasonable.
Look, I'm also driving like an 18-year-old like Honda Civic, you know, so like 70 is.
She can't take it. She can't take it. She can't
70
take
is
it.
like is the sweet spot. Like I feel like I'm passing people, you know, not like, but I'm not.
At 70, are you passing people late at night?
On the 10 freeway, yes. Yes, you are.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
But like, like most of the time I'm listening to bands like, Men I Trust or, just kind of like indie, like white indie shit. Like, I'm just feeding my fucking like little inner white boy.
You're in your little white boy era.
Exactly. I think it's rooted in like, this weird desire to fit in that's rooted in my like fucking like, my pathetic and sad Fresno upbringing. Apparently,
I heard about Clovis. I heard about Clovis when we stayed there. Like, if you're brown, get out of town. Like, if you see a Clovis sign, they're like, if you're brown, turn around. That's what we were told. But we stayed in Clovis.
Yeah, no. Or like, just close your door. Like, close your doors and close your blinds. It's like, it's not, and then there's like, Fresno's also changed a lot. Like it has a large Latino and Southeast Asian population now. And, but I'm sure like there's still some like, like good old boys, hanging out, out there.
That's what they said. Those two songs that you mentioned, I'm going to put them on the Word to Your Mama guest hype song playlist. It's on Spotify. And whoever is the latest guest, it gets up to the top. So this will be the first time that we have, and we have everything, Nabby Luke. Like, you think it's all hip hop. It's not. I have everything. I have all genres. I've had young folks on here, our generation. But this is the first time I'm going to say that we had like, industrial, French,
industrial techno, like, French techno.
French techno. I think this will be the first time, but it will go with everything. So there'll be a link in the show notes to that. Okay. Final question. What will be your legacy?
My paintings. I don't have kids. They're
your kids.
I don't. They're my creations.
Right.
I like. Don't really like. I'm 50 years old. I don't really want kids anymore. Like, that's.
You though?
I think there was a time when I was curious to see how it would influence, my work. But
right.
Like would it make me a soft boy? Would I like to suddenly be all like fucking? Oh, I love my daughter. I'm going to fucking paint flowers.
I think it would change you like that.
Like my bear is all about happiness now. Like like I think that like I was curious about having children as kind of like a social experiment, and then also like the legacy thing, but like.
Right.
But like, I think I'm doing the world a favor by not having kids.
No. But your legacy is your paintings. They bring, even though you tackle some very personal, hard subjects, they bring people joy.
I like to think that the kindest comments that I ever get is like, people saying that like, after like seeing my work and, kind of like deep diving into what I've done, the thing that they kind of walk away with is the realization that they are not alone with like these, things that they're feeling. And that's one of the most flattering things I ever hear, and, like, I think I would like to hope that like, the way I communicated things, from like, where I was in my 30s, where I was in my 40s, and now where I am in my 50s is like, the work evolves and, like it communicates to, a variety of people and, we'll see how it goes. But, I feel, like I said, like, being a working artist is, amazing, but if you don't fucking give it up to luck, then fuck you. Like
right.
Luck,
if luck's not involved. If you don't think it's involved, it's involved for sure.
Involved. Like I work my ass off I work like when I'm cramming, I'm working 14-hour, hour days, 16-hour days, like fall asleep in the studio, wake up and just go straight back to work again. But the thing is that, and I love every fucking minute of it. But the thing is that it's not the work that fucking like got me through the door. I mean, to a certain degree, but like, it's also about timing, like the people who see my work, the people who, the area in which I show my work. Is it like a fertile bed for like people to be able to, experience, appreciate, and support, these kind of, these efforts, like, I've had a lot of artists reach out to me and go like, hey, can you give me some advice on how to like, get started? And I'm like, where are you at? Like, Minnesota. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, like, yeah, sure. There's social media, but like social media, I don't know. I'm an old timer, so I'm not as familiar with, these things,
And I think your artwork, it came out at a certain moment in time that I don't know if you were to come out later, or say like those teachers that told you, what if they would have never said, you're an okay designer, but you're better here? And what if they would have said, oh yeah, you have to go to art center? Then that could have fucked you up, and we wouldn't be talking right now. Like we wouldn't know each other. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like such a small little window that it happened all at the right time.
Well, I didn't like, go to grad school at all. So like,
exactly.
But
if you would have gone, what could have happened? This might not be happening right now. This might have not happened for you, right? Like it was the right moment at the right time and the right circumstances with the right people. Like you said, there's a little bit of luck, but that luck got you in the door, but your hard work kept you there.
Kept me in the room. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Kept you in the room, and you're still here. You're in your 50s, and all the shit that you mentioned that you went through, and how, you burned some bridges, and, you're over here on this side. But I also think, just like your Honda, where 70 is the sweet spot, your artwork is this nice sweet spot. Like, even though you tackled some dark subjects, kids to 90-year-olds, it's like anyone can love it. It's not like it's too dark. Like,
the older stuff was way dark, but but
you know what I'm saying. But like the gist of it is like, it's the sweet spot of all the stuff. So, anyways,
Well,
I said thank you. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know what I was going to say. I completely agree with everything that you have to say. So, but like. I wanted to mention that, like, just so people know, I started doing the art thing when I was 30, like not in my 20s. Like I started pursuing the art thing in earnest when I was 30. So like, if you're like 20 something and you're like, struggling but you have like ideas and whatever, like, it's never too late to fucking like, like jump in there. And I've met artists who have who started like when they were in their late 40s, and so it's
it's never too late.
Never too late. You don't
if
go in.
You do it.
You don't go, but you don't go in like with like expecting like to become some blue chip fucking hotshot artist. It could go there, but you do it because it's something that you like. Like, fuck, I've got nothing else to fucking do right now. Fucking might as well, like, doodle around on my fucking, my iPad or my, draw them, on like this, canvas or whatever. So, just, just do it. As Nike says.
Just do it like the Nikes. Like the Nikes. So, Navi, look, before we head out, where... It's going to be in the show notes, but let the people know where they can find you. You just had the show in August. By the time this comes out, DCon would have already passed.
Yes.
So, let us know what you got planned for the big, 2024s.
In May, I will be doing a show at Dorothy Circus in London. And I think in November, I'll be doing a show at Bine Art in Sydney. So,
excuse.
Yeah, I've never been to Sydney, so I'm I've never been to Australia. I've never actually been south of the fucking equator. So like, I am looking forward to the day I can.
You got to make it happen.
Flush the toilet and record the video, and then like put it next to a fucking video of toilet that I flushed in the northern hemisphere
and show us. Yeah, and that's hilarious.
Yes, that will be a reel on Instagram.
And if you see it on the tip top, I'll have all the filters and the different. You'll have your gimbal by then. You'll have your
I'll have my gimbal by then. I'll do all these sweeping. And I'll throw in some like dubstep in there.
Yes, please do that. Please let us know. I definitely want to see that.
Okay.
Navi Looksters, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It was so great to see you again, and thank you for being so candid and keeping it real with me and everyone else, because they're gonna appreciate this. So I really appreciate you.
The pleasure was mine. It was fun. It's always great seeing you, Ritzy.
Shooby-doo. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Navi Lukes, the Navi Lukesters. I mean, the amount of fun that we had, and then the amount of fun that we had after the recording. And then when I was editing the video, because now we're on video, kids. We're on the YouTubes. I'm editing the video, and that's how I'm getting this audio. And I was laughing in the middle of the night as I'm editing this. So yes, good times. I love how he softened up. Soften up. Is that correct? Yeah. I love how he has softened up with age. Where he's not just complete nihilist. And yeah, it's a good thing. But I do miss those food adventures, eating all different types of places around LA. Shout out to You Heard Your Foods. We'd go eat a lot with Navi Luke. And was Navi Luke, I forgot to ask, I think Navi Luke might have been with the crew, who is Shane Jessup, Sket One, and Kano, when I announced that I was pregnant. And it was hilarious how I told them they were afraid, because I told them that I wasn't going to be able to hang out with them anymore, that, my husband, I don't know if we were married at the time. I don't know if we were married. I was like, yeah, he doesn't want me to hang out with you guys. They were like, what? I think I have the audio. And I was like, psych, I'm pregnant. They were like, what? Because it was super shocking, kids. Like, I don't think you understand how shocking it was. Because I didn't tell anyone also until I was 5 months, because they were scaring me. The doctors were scaring me, like, oh, geriatric pregnancy. So I don't want to say anything, but no one would have ever imagined that I would have been a mom. So this is like everyone that I told, I tried to tell in person, if I could, if they lived around me, just their jaws, their bottom jaw dislocated, dropped to the floor. And everyone thought I was punking them. Everybody did. They thought I was joking. They thought they couldn't believe it. But yeah, I think Navi Luke was there, because I think it was at the ramen spot in Hollywood. So anyways, yes, check out his artwork, buy all the things. He needs to support himself, as we heard. But good times. Also, don't forget, we're still in the window. If you're listening to this in Feb, we're still in the window where you can help us out by filling out a quick survey. And one lucky listener, viewer, is going to win a WTYM prize pack. And I also just want to give you an update on the supernatural bear. He's tall as fuck. He's 11, but he is like 5 something. I don't know what's happening. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And if you heard the relatives, he's always trying to push me to 50 before my time. But yesterday, it was great. He corrected himself before he said he was talking smack, but he corrected himself before using my age in the talking of the smack. I hope you guys are all safe and healthy, and your loved ones are too. Just trying to make it through. Just trying to make it through, kids. You know the ways. tell your folks, tell your peeps, tell your friends. We've got the Patreon stuff. You could donate directly. But you know what? A win for us and a win for you is head on to the store and buy something. Use the code in the show notes and get 10% off your entire order. And you can share that code with whomever. Yeah, won't you go ahead and do that? Super excited for the rest of this semester, the semester of episodes. And cross your fingers, I think of something that I promised in the relatives, I think it might come to fruition. So yeah, just waiting for some information, some contracts and things to be signed. Yes. And I'm excited to provide that value for you all. So yeah, as always, Gracias for listening to Word to Your Mama. I have a unique cross-section of guests on here because I'm a consultant who thrives at the intersection of creative innovation, tech, and community impact. There are a variety of ways we could work together, so check out ritzyperiwinkle.com to learn more. Link in the bio. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. Intro beat produced by Nico Beats. For partnership inquiries and contact info, check out wordtoyourmama.com. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com. And now, introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner.
Supernatural Bear. Burp.